What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. Of course, we're going to start with the NBA playoffs. In fact, we're going to talk pretty much all NBA today. Don't have anything else planned. Let's start with the NBA playoffs. We are going to backtrack a little bit to Friday. We had the Thunder defeat the San Antonio Spurs 123-108 in game three to take a 2-1 series lead. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, of course, a two-time reigning MVP, 26 points and 12 assists in the win. Saturday, Knicks-Cavs in Game 3. Knicks win 121-108. Handled the Cavs relatively easily. 30 points and 6 assists for Jalen Brunson. On Sunday, Spurs absolutely blow out the Thunder 103-82. They win by 21 points. 33, 8, and 3 blocks for Victor Wembanyama. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander struggles with 19 points. He actually hasn't been great in the series, SGA. Game 1 and in Game 4, he did not play well at all. Was relatively good in Games 2 and 3, but overall, hasn't been great. Has not shot the three well at all in the series. And Spurs win. So that series is tied 2-2. And last night, a Memorial Day gift felt like Christmas last night. The New York Knicks defeated the Cleveland Cavaliers in emphatic fashion, 130-93 by 37 points, win their 11th game in a row this postseason, and advance to the NBA Finals for the first time in 27 years. What a performance this postseason by the New York Knicks. You beat Atlanta by 6 games. In the first round, you win Game 6 by 51. Absolute belt to ass on the Sixers in a 4-game sweep. Game 1, you won by 35 or 38. You will win by 26 in Game 4, the clincher. Absolutely kill the Cavs. You come back down 22 in the last 7 minutes of the game in Game 1. Handled them easily in Games 2 and 3. And in the clincher on the road again. They've clinched all 3 series on the road this postseason. They win by 37. Absolute drubbing from the New York Knicks. They are in the NBA Finals for the first time in 27 years. The first time in my lifetime they have reached the NBA Finals. Game 1 of the Finals will be June 3rd. So they will have significant time off, a solid week off until the NBA Finals, regardless of the winner. Spurs and Thunder, of course, that series is still ongoing. Tonight on NBC at 8:30 will be Game 5 at 2 games apiece. It's in Oklahoma City. So, player of that series will have, I believe, 3 or 4 days off, but Knicks are going to have 7 or 8. So, and the Knicks had 8 days off from the second round and the conference finals as well. So they will be the more rested team. But Knicks win. They go to the finals. Just what a performance. All of them. Jalen Brunson, of course, is conference finals MVP. He averaged 25 and 7 assists in the series. Josh Hart was great. Cat, Game 1 struggle. Other than that, was very, very good. OG, I thought, played well. Especially considering he didn't play the previous 2 weeks because he was hurt and he had the time off in between the series. Mikal Bridges actually played really well. He was honestly probably the Knicks' second most consistent player in the series, besides Jalen Brunson. On the Cleveland side, Donovan Mitchell overall played well. No one else really showed up. Evan Mobley I didn't think was very good. Jared Allen wasn't good. Dean Wade, I'm just thinking of the role pieces. He didn't do much. Sam Merrill had his moments, hit 3 here or there. Other than that, didn't do anything special. James Harden was absolutely terrible. But I got to talk about Kenny Atkinson. He made these comments after Game 3.
Analytically, I think we've won the I said 3 out of 3. We're 2 out of 3 in the expected. I don't know if you guys follow that. There's like an expected score.
What? What are you talking about? And look, I like Kenny Atkinson. He's a New York guy. He's from Long Island. I do think he's a good basketball coach. He's done a good job in Cleveland these last couple of years, in my opinion. But stay in your lane, buddy. What are you talking about? I have never heard an athlete or a coach cope any harder than Kenny Atkinson did. Analytically, you won 2 of the first 3 games? What? Like, does that mean I'm a millionaire analytically? Like, what are you talking about? You blew a 22-point lead in Game 1 in the last 7 minutes, not in the second half. The last 7 minutes of the game, you blew a 22-point lead in 7 goddamn minutes. You lost by double digits in game two and in game three. And game four, you lost by 37 on your home court. By 37 in your goddamn building. You got your ass absolutely handed to you. Shut up and go home to the pathetic city of Cleveland and cry and hope you don't get fired for this pathetic performance by the Cleveland Cavaliers. We're going to have to make major changes 4 years into the Donovan Mitchell experiment, and he has not won a single game in the conference finals. Thank God the Knicks did not trade for him 4 years ago and instead save the draft capital for guys like Mikal Bridges and Karl-Anthony Towns and save all that money to sign a guy like Jalen Brunson. By the way, for all you haters on Jalen Brunson, screw you. Saying at the time, oh, overpaying, $27 million is too much. And when he took a pay cut a year or two ago, you bashed that. You bashed him left and right. Screw you. Jalen Brunson is a superstar, and he has taken a New York Knicks team to the NBA Finals, worth every goddamn penny and then some. One of the greatest free agent signings in the history of the NBA. One of the greatest, definitely the greatest free agent signing in New York Knicks history. It's not even remotely close. New York Knicks are in the NBA Finals. Finish things off, we're going to talk a little bit more NBA. We're going to start with the NBA all defensive teams were named. First team and second team. First team was Victor Wembanyama, Chet Holmgren, Asar Thompson, Rudy Gobert, and Derek White. Second team was Scotty Barnes, Kaysen Wallace, Bam Adebayo, OG Anunoby, and Dyson Daniels. I think this is relatively accurate. I think there was an argument for OG Anunoby to maybe on the first team, maybe over Derek White, but other than that, I don't have many complaints about the all defensive teams. I think they got them pretty much correct in this go around. The all NBA teams are also announced first, second, and third team. First team is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Nikola Jokic, Victor Wembanyama, Luka Doncic, and Cade Cunningham. Well, second team was Jaylen Brown, Kawhi Leonard, Donovan Mitchell, Kevin Durant, and Jalen Brunson. Third team was Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray, Jalen Johnson, Jalen Duren, and Chet Holmgren. I really thought Karl-Anthony Towns deserved it over Jalen Duren, but I digress. For Duren, Pistons are now in a pickle because he's now eligible for a $267 million extension, which you cannot give him after that postseason run for how bad he was. You cannot do it, but he's eligible for that, so we'll see what happens in those negotiations. I want to briefly talk about the NBA lottery proposals as being proposed to the league by the owners. I want to go over it, or what Silver and the league proposed to the NBA owners. There's a lot of confusion about it. I was confused when I went over it in a segment a week or two ago. So this is how it's going to work. Starting next year's lottery, of course. This year's lottery obviously already happened. 16 teams will be in the lottery, not 14. 37 ping pong balls total. The 3 balls each to the teams that had the 4th through 10 worst records. The other 7 teams will have 2 lottery balls, and those 7 teams are the teams with the 3 worst records, and the teams that finished 9th and 10th, so the 2 worst teams in the play-in tournament in each conference. Like, what are we doing? I get you have to do something, and it's something. But why does the 10th worst team have better odds than the worst team? Like, why is that possible? Can you imagine being the worst team in basketball? You have this god-awful team, you win 17 games all year, and then with the 10th pick, and the 10th worst team, who damn near almost made the playoffs, has the first or second pick? Like, this is ridiculous. Adam Silver is such a complete joke and a complete buffoon. But anyway, to finish off today, I'm going to start my NBA offseason preview series. These first couple, I'm doing a lot more talking about this, the overall outlook for next year, because always teams are going to be in pretty large rebuilds. I'm not sure exactly what they plan to be doing. I'm going to start with the Washington Wizards, who this past year had the worst record in the world of basketball. They were very bad. But I think they have a couple of young pieces I think are good. They're going to have the number 1 overall pick. They're expected to take AJ Dubance out of BYU. I like AJ Dubance a lot. I think he'll be a very good player in the NBA. Have a couple of guys who drafted recently who I like. I like Trey Johnson a lot. He's still 20 years old. I think he can be a very good player. I think that Keyshawn George, who is 23 years of age, another former lottery pick, can be a good player. Alex Saw was the second pick 2 years ago. He's 21 years of age. He's a really good defender. Offensively, getting better. He averaged 16 points and 7 rebounds this year, shot 48% from the field and 33% from three. But you like to see him get a little better from that, especially he's only shooting 69% from the free throw line. But he is getting a little bit better each year offensively. He's still just 21 years of age. He turned 21 last month. He's a very, very good player. I think that's what his ceiling will be. And if they're healthy, this team could be kind of sneaky. Like Anthony Davis, the guy is never healthy. He's 33 years old. But one hell of a guy, is still a really good player who can give you 30 and 10 as an old defensive player. Trae Young, who I've said before, he's a non-winning player. He has some very poor shot selection, and he does not play a lick of defense, one of the worst defenders in the world of basketball. However, he is an elite three-point shooter and also an elite facilitator. Very good, as in the pick and roll, and very good off the dribble as well. That's about all he brings, but he does bring a lot of value in those two areas. He's still 28 years old. He's a player option worth near $49 million. I think you either opt out of that just to sign a slightly longer deal with the Wizards, or you opt into that and test the market next year. But they have him. I think fresh scenery definitely was better for Atlanta because they actually played really well in the second half and gave the Knicks the only thing that's given the Knicks a fight in these playoffs. And I think fresh start in Washington could do him some wonders. Other than that, I'm not sure exactly what this team has going for them. We'll see if they bring back D'Angelo Russell. He's a player option worth just about $6 million. He probably opts out of that. Like they have a couple of young guys. Bilal Coulibaly is still 22, but I don't know what exactly his ceiling is. But Carrick 21. Not sure what they're expected to get out of him. Cam Whitmore is only 22 still. Yeah, I liked coming out. Rockets drafted him in the first round a few years ago. A guy with a projected top 5 pick kind of fell to them at 17 in that draft. Something like that. He has not worked out at all. I'm not sure how much better he's going to get. But you have the first overall pick in this draft. You have a couple of young guys. The East is going to be better next year, but I think at their ceiling, if they're fully healthy, this could be, a 9 or a 10 seed in the Eastern Conference. It's not saying a whole lot, if you're a playing team. But this is a team that make up their ceiling, can win maybe 40 games and maybe get into the play-in. But most likely will probably be very bad again. Not liking it they brought back Brian Keefe as the head coach, but may finally be trending in the right direction. They have a couple of decent young players. Next thing I want to talk about is the Indiana Pacers. So the Pacers are going to be significantly better next year, I have to imagine, just being healthy. First, Tyrese Halliburton, your superstar point guard, who took you to the Game 7 of the finals last year, did not play this year for torn Achilles. He'll be back next year. You have all these other players, Andrew Nembhard and Aaron Nesmith, fully healthy. Pascal Siakam. You make the trade for Ivica Zubac. I don't like giving up both Isaiah Jackson and Benedict Walfrin. You gave up the 5th pick in this year's draft and another pick for him. That's a lot up for a guy who's going to be what? A 15-10 guy and protect the rim at a pretty solid level. But he is a good center. You needed a legit 5 with Miles Turner now playing in Milwaukee. You get that. Not going to have as much depth, but you still have Obi Toppin. At the power forward, you still have T.J. McConnell behind Tyrese Halliburton. Maybe Trace Walker can take a step forward. He's still 23 years old. Ben Shepherd's still 25. Jay Huff isn't a bad backup center. So you still have some pieces on this team for sure. You have a tiny bit of apron space. You have about 20 million, 20.5 million before you hit the second apron. We'll see what they do. They're going to want to try and get a ring out of his crew before it's too late. I mean, you have a bunch of guys making a lot of money. You got Siakam and Halliburton are both making about almost $49 million. Halliburton for 3 more seasons, Siakam for 2 more seasons. Zubac makes about $20 million for the next 2 seasons. So you have a little bit of room, but it'll be interesting to see what they do in the offseason. because they don't have a first round pick. They would have had the fifth pick in the draft if they didn't make that trade. If the pick dropped out of the top, I think if it dropped out of the top five, no, if it was in the top four, they would have kept it, and they were favored to get a top four pick. They ended up sliding to five, so the Clippers ended up getting that draft pick. So we will see what Indiana does, but they're definitely going to be a bunch better just being healthy, especially having Tyrese Halliburton. But they'll probably run this back for the most part. A full year of this group. Halliburton with Zubac and all these other pieces who already know how to play together because they have been doing it for a couple of years. Should be significantly better. They're one of the most teams. If they get into the playoffs, then they're a threat because of their experience and just having that clutch factor with Tyrese Halliburton. And the last thing I'm going to go over is the Brooklyn Nets. Uh, I mean, they have not a lot going for them. A lot of young guys on this team. Agor Demon is 20 years old. You have Nolan Troyer is 20, Drake Powell is 21, Ben Soroff is 20, Danny Wolf is 22, Josh Minot is 22 years old. If Ochai Agbaji comes back, he's a restricted free agent. He's 26. Same thing with Jalen Wilson. You have Cyrus Williams is 25. Even Claxton's still 27. Even Michael Porter is 28 years old. Noah Clowney's only 20. Darren Sharper's 25. So this is probably the youngest team in the league. I don't know what they're doing. You had 5 first-round picks last year. You didn't move up or down once, and you took 5 guys, and they all didn't make. Neither of them, not even neither. That means 2. All 5 of them did not make an all-rookie team. Just so I'm not sure what they were expecting. I mean, Michael Porter, I would just cash in on him at this point. Yeah, he has a $40.8 million expiring salary. Had a good year last year. He averaged, 24 points a game before he got hurt. Now, if he played on a contender, he would not be averaging 24 because he had the ball in his hands a lot less. Look at Mikal Bridges. He was averaging 25, 26 in Brooklyn. Goes to the next team, he's averaging 18. It's the same kind of thing. But maybe you try and flip him. Even Claxton, who I like as a stretch 5, rim runner, very good rebounder, plays defense, can score on the inside, but I think that's what you're going to get out of him. He has 2 years left. He's 27 years old on a relatively team-friendly contract. He's due $23.3 million next year. Following year is due just about $22 million. I just think you're better off trading him and getting back a couple young players, maybe a couple first-round picks, opposed to extending him for some crazy number when he's maybe at best a 16 and 12 guy who will be a solid defender around the rim. And this is a team I don't see them being good in 2 years. I mean, we'll see what happens with Jordy Fernandez's group, with Demon and all these young guys. But I'm not sure what they're expecting. I mean, they have $1 zillion in cap space. I think you got to go out and bring in some sort of veteran presence. The only real veteran presence you have on this team is Michael Porter Jr., who is a solid number 3 option, can give you maybe 25 points. Claxton's a solid center. Like Terrence Mann's on this team. He's maybe an average backup wing. Those are the only true veterans you have on this team. I'm not sure about the ceilings for of any of these young guys, to be honest. Like Sharp could be maybe a decent player. They'll bring him back. They'll bring back Sharp. I mean, as Larry Williams, he's an average bench player at best. Danny Wolf, I think, could be a solid player. But even Damon, who's a top 10 pick last year, I don't see a whole lot in. Traore, I don't see a whole lot in. Even Drake Powell, so I don't see any of these guys being even ultra level players. So I'm not sure what Brooklyn is expecting. But you have a lot of money to spend. You have close to $100 million to spend if you really want to. So take full advantage of that. They're a team that can take back a bad contract if to be willing to absorb a bad deal if it means they can get more first round draft capital. Just take back as many picks as you can at this point. Right now you have the Knicks pick in the 27 draft. And you got swap rights with Houston. So you have a lot of draft picks. Now, one, when your GM is Sean Marks, doesn't really matter. And 2, you have no talent. Just you need to try and acquire as much literally as physically possible. But that's my offseason outlook for those teams. That's all I got for you guys today. Go Knicks. And until next time, so long and have a great day.